Welcome to John Gets Excited, Episode 3. Today, I once again have 4 games that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. And that makes sense because it's August 12th, 2014, which means we're just a couple days away from Gen Con, which is the biggest board gaming convention in the United States. And there's a whole bunch of cool stuff coming out. Only 2 of the 4 games I'm talking about today are coming out at Gen Con, but that doesn't make them any less exciting. So let's jump right into it. The first game that I want to talk about is Abyss. This game is being published by Asmodee in the United States, and it's designed by Bruno Cathala and Charles Chevalier. Bruno Cathala is a really prolific board game designer. He's got tons. I have a couple behind me. I have Cyclades right here, and Mundus Novus, that's up here. That's just to name it a couple. And so that's part of the reason for the excitement for this game. But the main reason I'm excited about this game is it looks like it's a push-your-luck game. I like push-your-luck games. I got several behind me, but this is like push-your-luck plus because you can't bust on your turn. A standard trope for push-your-luck is you keep rolling the dice or you keep drawing cards until you push too far, and now boom, your turn is done, and you don't get anything. You risk too much. This game doesn't have that. If you're doing the push-your-luck part of the game, which is an option, you will get a card. If you draw the 5th card, I believe, you're going to take that card. So that's sort of a bust because if you don't want that 5th card, well, you can't take the 3rd card. You're going to take that 5th card, but you still get something on your turn. And another really interesting thing about it is that as you're revealing cards from this deck, you're exploring, your opponents have the option to spend money and take those cards from you. They're going to give you money for it, so that's kind of nice. But if you reveal a totally amazing card and your opponents have money, well, odds are good they're going to give you that 1 pearl, and then you don't get this amazing card, and you're like, yay, 1 pearl, that sucks. But, that's part of the push your luck, I think. You're deciding how many options do I want to give my opponents good shots at getting really good cards. Another really interesting thing is, so once you've set all these cards out and you've pulled one, there might be like 3 or 4 left. Let's say there's like a blue and a purple and a red left. Instead of taking all those and putting them into one discard pile, there's actually 5 sorted discard piles for the 5 colors in the game. So you take the red and put it into red, you take the blue, put it into blue, purple into purple. And that's the way your turn would end. And then on opponents' turns, well, as the game goes around, one of the options you can do, instead of pushing your luck, is you can just take every one of the cards that's in one of those sorted discard piles and then put it right into your hand. So that's another risk that goes along with the pushing your luck, is you are seeding all these cards. Your opponent might buy a card from you, or you take a good card, but the cards that are not bought are still going to go down and then be available to your opponents. Potentially them being able to pick up several cards in one go, and they're not even pushing their luck there. They have to remember what cards are in there, so that's one aspect of the game, but very interesting to me how all these things interact. It's not just, oh, am I going to roll a 7, then I bust. It's all these different things you have to think about. Do I want to draw another card? Because it might be the card I really want, or then they might take it. Ooh, really cool stuff. It's also beautiful. If you haven't seen this game, I would definitely look it up on Board Game Geek. There are 4 different box covers. The art and the cards and just everything just explodes with amazing art. It's gorgeous. So that's definitely swinging me a little bit in the game's direction as well. But it's those push your luck mechanics that are really going for that really do it for me. You're actually getting these cards so you can recruit lords, and they can do like little one-shot actions and maybe a little bit of engine building, but that's really not the focus of the game. It's all about that really interesting push your luck aspect. This game is it's being released at Gen Con, so yes, it's coming out soon. I'm really looking forward to trying that one. The second game that I want to talk about today is also being released at Gen Con, and that is Black Fleet. That one is being published by Space Cowboys, and it's designed by Sebastian Bleasdale. Now, the reason this game has me excited is it's kind of a lighter game, and in general I like heavier games for the most part, but this one you have little ships and you're moving around a map and it's pick up and deliver. But the really cool thing about this game is that every single person has control of 3 different ships. 2 of them are their own ship, and then 1 is a communal ship. So you have a pirate ship that you control, a merchant ship that you control, and then there's a neutral kind of like police ship that goes around trying to catch pirate ships. And so you're trying to take your merchants, get goods, and move them to other ports and get money. But then you're also trying to move your pirate ship to intercept other people's merchants and steal their cargo and then bury it onto islands to get victory points. And then finally, you want to move that neutral ship around to essentially blow up opponents' pirate ships. Just really interesting stuff. And so what you do on your turn is it's a hand management game. You have a hand of cards, and every single card has a movement value for all 3 ships. And wow, that's really interesting. So you have several cards in your hand, and you say, you know, I really want to move my merchant ship a lot this turn, but that might mean, you know, so I use this card right here, but the pirate and the, I keep calling it the police ship. I'm sure it has a much better name than that. Those might have a really low value. Or you might go for a balance card where all 3 ships move about the same amount, but then you spend that card and it goes away. And that's just really, really interesting to think about balancing. You know, do you want to shoot one ship and then do the other 2 slow, or do you want to balance all 3 of them? And then there's also these kind of these action cards, these power cards that are one-shots that let you do all sorts of game-breaking stuff like sail your boat over an island and various things like that. I have to admit, that part has me a little wary about the game. It seems like it might not necessarily be take that, but it might be a little too chaotic where you're trying to plan around stuff and then your opponent just like, oh, I sail over these islands. And then you're like, well, crap, there's nothing I can do about that. It's a minor quibble, but it really, that card play mechanic and the way you move all these different ships around the board seems really cool. Not to mention, the goal of the game is to is to free the governor's daughter, I guess, by paying a ransom. But as you're doing that, you're flipping these power cards over. You have to have all of them flipped over before you even can do the governor's daughter. And each one of these has a engine building kind of power that you can do. It's a bonus to various different things. And I read through the rules, and it looks like you don't actually have the same ones every single game, which is quite interesting. And you can do them in any order you want to. So that's going to be part of the interesting decisions is, which one do I unlock first? They have various costs associated with them, but you want to do things that are going to sync up well. It just looks really great, and also the production value looks amazing. It's being made by Space Cowboys, who made Splendor, which also had really, really solid production value. So all these reasons together are why I'm quite excited about this game. A little bit of reservations as to quite how chaotic it might end up being, but it just looks like fun. The third game that I want to talk about is Port Royale, and this is a game that I actually own. It is here. Awesome. So I just got this in last week. This is the Pegasus Spiel version. I've seen announced on Board Game Geek that they are going to have a US launch for the game, but there's no details on it and there's no time on it. And I really wanted this game, so I bought it from Europe and had it shipped over. This game is designed by Alexander Pfister, and it is also a push your luck game. So I've talked about push your luck a lot already with Abyss, and this one is kind of a different take, and I'm okay with having these multiple push your luck games. This one is, I've played it a couple times already, and it's almost a filler. Like it's relatively quick. It seems like the games are like, they've taken about 20 to 30 minutes. But the cool thing about this game is once again, it's a card game, so like Abyss, where you're going to be laying the cards out as you go, but there's also a communal aspect to it. Unlike Abyss, where you lay a card down and someone can buy it from you, in Port Royale, once you stop pushing your luck, you take a card, you take some number of cards, usually it's 1, and then your opponents, going clockwise order around you, will have access to buy the cards that are left out in the tableau. So it's kind of similar. You get first dibs, unlike Abyss, but you don't want to keep putting out really good cards and then thinking, oh crap, there's 2 amazing cards and I'm only going to be able to get one of them, and then the person to my left is going to grab it. Now, when people grab cards outside of their turn, when it's your turn, they pay you money to do that, and that's good. You know, that helps a little bit, but you really have to think about that. And there's all sorts of other things to go along with the pushing your luck in this game, because there are other cards that, like, people get money if they don't get cards available to them, and if you reveal, so you can bust in this game. You can reveal a second of the same color ship. There are 5 different color ships in the game, and then you lose your turn. Your turn's over, boom. So there is busting in here, but there is engine building. You can repel ships with certain cards, and you can get more money for other ships. There's definite engine building with this game, which is quite interesting to me. I'm really excited to keep playing this, and at some point I'll do a review of it, but so far it's definitely lived up to the expectations that I had for it. So that one is, it's already out in Europe, obviously. I bought it already. Who knows when it's going to show up in the United States, but honestly I bought this for quite cheap. I got it off Amazon, the US Amazon. With shipping included, it was in the mid-20s, so really, really can't complain about that. All right, the fourth game that I want to talk about today that has me really excited is called Deus. This game is being published by Pearl Games, and it's designed by Sebastian Dujardin. And this game kind of jumped out of nowhere at me just maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I bumped into it on Board Game Geek. I'd never heard of it, and I immediately was just sucked into it. It's got this modular board that they're like circular hexagons. Look it up on Board Game Geek; it'll make sense. It looks really neat, but the thing about the game that really drew me in is it almost feels like it's got a Settlers of Catan-y kind of player interaction without screwing people over too much thing going on. It's a light Euro game. I don't think the Settlers of Catan comparison is too apt, but it does have hexagons, and you're not fighting people on this map. You're just trying to put pieces out on the map, and things get congested, and you're trying to get to certain places first, which has that going on. But the real reason that I'm excited about this game is this really interesting engine set building mechanic. So the way it works is there are 6 different colors in the game, and on your turn, one of the things you can do is you can play a card down, like essentially as a building. Like I play this red building, and I put it down into my tableau in front of me, and I take a little wooden piece and I put it out on the board, and that is associated with that building, but it's pretty abstract. After that point, you don't really think about that. Now you have that one red card there, and you do the action that's on the card will let you do something cool. But the thing is, you're not going to be able to use that action card again until you do another red card. So if I play a second red card, I put it down on top of, well, kind of splayed up from the first one, put another piece out on the board, and then I execute every single red building. So it has this really interesting mechanic where you could go wide and do cards from all these different colors, and when you execute that color, you do every other card that you would ever put onto your tableau for that color. And if you go broad, jack of all trades, well, then they're all going to be kind of okay. But you could potentially spearhead down, like just put a bunch of red cards down if you had the option, for instance. And then every time you play another red card, you execute all of them. But that means, when you play that first yellow card late game, it's going to be kind of a weak turn. So it looks like it has a really interesting balancing act going along with it. Also, it's the way you get cards in your hand is you spend the cards in various different ways. One way to replenish your little wooden pieces and whatnot. But then you draw back up to a bunch of cards in your hand at the end of the turn. So unlike Settlers of Catan, where you're rolling dice and you can get screwed, and other people are rolling dice and you can just not get the numbers you want, this one you're always going to have a hand of cards and things to look at. It just looks like it's going to really fit into that light Euro, not multiplayer solitaire, because there are definitely things that you want to do that are not going to. There are scoring opportunities that you want to get to first. So I guess you're not really messing with other people's plans too much beyond just grabbing a few points before them. The official rules have not been released. This is just from translated reviews and previews that I've found online, so some of these things might be slightly off, but it's really that set collection, that engine set collection building mechanism that really has me excited about that game. So let's see. That one is coming out at Essen, supposedly, so that's a little bit farther down the road this year, but doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be buying that game. That mechanic has me really excited, and what can I say? I love Settlers of Catan. It was my first love with board gaming. So there you go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know if any of these games get you excited. I'm sure there are so many games that are making people excited right now with Gen Con. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you guys next time.